Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. We have a new video today on a new series we've been doing. This is going to be our third guest regarding people at RV that have had positive experiences RVing. Now, there's a lot of negativity in the RV world. A lot of it is completely justified, and we've done quite a few negative videos on people having negative experiences. RVing, we'll link our latest one up above, but we decided that it can't be all negative. And the reason why is because we've been to many campgrounds. And we've met a lot of people that love RVing.
We had a lot of people reach out to us and said, yeah, I'm having a really, really good experience and want to share it. So we want to bring that to you. So our guest today is a really exciting one, and we have a great RV to talk about. So his name is James. I'm going to let him introduce himself. He's done some pretty phenomenal stuff to his RV, as well as having a wonderful experience. So we're going to bring him on and let him introduce himself and tell you a little bit just about the RV that he has, and then we'll delve in a little deeper.
The power of technology, we're going to welcome James. And thank you, James, for reaching out to us. We put this out on social media, and you reached out, and you've sent us some wonderful pictures and videos, which people are going to be able to see throughout this video. But quickly, just your name, James, obviously, and what's your location?
Right. My name's James, and I reside in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And my RV is a 2025 Fleetwood Discovery LXE 44S. And I just purchased it really in the last 100, 120 days or so. So really looking forward to an opportunity to be able to talk about the rig, why we chose it, and the things that I love about it.
Awesome. So this is a question that we didn't send to you because we send these questions prior so you could prepare. But are you a long-time RVer, or is this your first RV?
No, this is the second RV. The first RV was a 2024 Class C gasser, and it was great experiences. Got an opportunity to be able to visit the Grand Canyon, Destin, Florida, and different destinations. And so when the smaller Class C, you have a little bit more opportunity to be able to see some different locations that may not necessarily be accessible quite as well in a 44, 45-foot RV. But no, so this is our second RV.
Great. So tell us, because a lot of people do like this brand.
They're really nice.
Yeah, we really like these actually when we go to the shows. Why did you choose Fleetwood?
So for this particular brand and this particular floor plan specifically, I had an opportunity to visit the Tampa RV show last year. And while everyone is typically looking at colors and maybe different floor plans and different layouts, my primary concern was the shower. And the 44S has the largest shower that you can get in a Class A RV. And for someone who's 6'5" and pretty much a grown man size, the shower was very, very important to me, as well as the ceiling height. So walking through the coach, the ceiling height in the living area is almost a foot above my head. And then as you go into the step up into the master bedroom, as well as to the bathroom, there's still plenty of head clearance. Now, in terms of Fleetwood, why I chose the brand is because of the relationships that I got a chance to build at the dealership, purchase the RV from, as well as seeing lots of reviews online and discussions online about people being able to have great access and great feedback from the service departments, great access to parts. And then the Fleetwood Service Department in Decatur, Indiana has great reviews for being able to get people in and out quickly and resolve their concerns, their RV.
Very
You've done this
good.
before.
I was going to say, you're very comfortable.
This is not the first time you've been on camera, but that's good. That makes for a good video. So I know you said you had a Class C. How did you fit in that?
I was going to say
they're not very large, most of them, unless you had a special one that we haven't seen yet.
6'5" in a Class C.
Right. So in the Class C, the challenge is when that floor plan was chosen, it was chosen for pretty much sleeping. So the overhead bunk, the bed, the dinette turned into a bed, the couch turned into a bed. There's a queen size bed in the rear. There's lots of, and two bunks in that model as well. So lots of sleeping available. But in terms of daily living, it became a challenge. Because in those RVs, there's a radius shower. And again, that's a bit of a challenge for someone of larger stature. And so when I got this RV, it was important to have a large master shower, but also two bathrooms for a parent of two young girls, as well as a boy getting ready for restaurants or getting back from the beach. Having two bathrooms available for the family to be able to use and get ready brings down a little tension between the siblings.
Yeah,
I can imagine that would be fun.
They probably really like this one over the Class C, I would imagine. It's definitely a big step up. So you mentioned you had a good relationship with the dealership. Would you like to share what dealership you chose?
Sure. I purchased this particular unit from Bob Hurley RV in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And when I say great relationship, and this is, I I like to give this advice to any new as well as seasoned RVers, that there are multiple departments within an RV dealership that it's important to have relationships with. You have your sales department, and then you have a service department, and you may also have a parts department. And so I decided that it was important to build those relationships with all three departments. The sales department, my sales professional, Lisa Chandler, incredible experience, very accommodating for making appointments, walking through the coaches and letting me know my options. But I also took some time to meet the individuals in the service department. I don't see there's not a reason not to ask a service manager, hey, would you mind giving me a tour of your service facilities? Seeing, are the floors clean? Are they taking care of people's units? Do you see the plastic mats down? What do you see when you look across the unit? Are the uniforms clean? Do people seem like they're taking pride in their work? And that's the impression I got from them. And I also went into the parts department, because as you're tracking down things for your unit, things will happen, things will break, things will need to be aligned. And so having someone to be able to advocate on your behalf for locating those parts and getting them expedited to you so that the service department can take care of your needs and get your experiences back on the road. It's great to have those relationships up and down the line across the departments in the dealership. So for me, the technician, I'll say his name is Ed. He's actually an incredible technician at Bob Hurley RV. I know his birthday. I know his wife. I know what he likes to eat. I even, for his birthday, brought him a new set of tools the other day. The gentleman is the only one that touches my coach, but I have a great relationship with him as he's working on my unit.
That is so important.
You brought out quite a few important things that we've said in other videos, right? So first you went to the Tampa show and you utilized that to see the different units, which is a great reason to go to a show. You don't have to buy at a show, but seeing those units, it's very difficult to see that many units in one place. So utilizing shows is pretty awesome.
And you also, what we've mentioned in many videos, is really looking into the service department, because you're going to spend time there. So the fact that you have such a good relationship with them and you were impressed with the cleanliness and everything else that you saw there, that's really, really important. We'll have to check this place out when we're on the road.
Correct me if I'm wrong, is Bob Hurley, is that the name of it, Bob Hurley?
Bob Hurley RV in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And they have a second location in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma as well.
Is that great small people, family owned?
Absolutely. Two brothers that have also had dealerships in the past here in the local area. My service advisor is Dakota Hurley. The son is the gentleman that I typically deal with when I'm getting things scheduled for service. The finance guy is also another Hurley person. So absolutely incredible. When I get a chance to stop by there, and I stop by there all the time to say hello, pick up some parts, to do different upgrades. And the owner just the other day said, hey, I need to get your social so we can put you on the payroll. You're here so much. But for good things, for upgrades or for asking questions about my rig, it's an absolutely wonderful place to be and a great experience for consumers.
Yeah, and then the other important thing you said, you treat everybody nice there. I mean, just giving a little bit goes a long way, because they're going to know, well, no, this is James. You got to take care of James' rig. Like you got to go above and beyond. Like that's the thing sometimes that's just missing. And I'm glad you brought that up.
So the next way, and this is something else that we mentioned in a lot of our videos, we're curious if you did it. Did you have an inspection, a third-party inspection before you picked up?
Absolutely. So I had an inspection on the previous Class C as well as on this unit, and I used the same inspector. And there's a couple different reasons for that. When we talk about relationships, I thought it was important to make sure to use an inspector that the dealership was familiar with. They're really under no obligation to allow someone to inspect a unit autonomously or walk through the units and whatever else. It's great for consumers to be able to do that, but I thought it was great for the relationships to be built. So it sold me when the RV inspector took a box of donuts into the dealership on the day that he wanted to inspect my unit, because that brings down the walls, it brings down the tension a little bit. That could be a bit of an adversarial relationship between the inspector and the dealership. So this gentleman, I thought he did a phenomenal job of building those great relationships, walking through the unit with them, timing when the inspection was going to be on a time schedule that worked great for me, for him, as well as a dealership, as well as a sales professional. And so it was great that he was able to grease those wheels and walk through all those things, and came out with a pretty exhaustive list of things that he checked. And a couple things were on the list that the dealership was able to take care of before I picked the unit up.
Since the inspection, since you've been owning your RV, have any other issues popped up?
There have been a couple things that have popped up, but they're not anything that I would classify as major. The first thing that popped up there were a couple of small leaks when I took it through a truck stop wash and went through a little bit of rain. I saw a couple of drips on the passenger side. And then there were also just a few adjustments to the Girard awnings to make sure those lined up when they were both out and in. a bathroom door adjustment. So by and large, most of these things were just adjustments. And so since I was happened to be in Michigan anyway, getting the solar panels installed on my RV, on my way back through, I was able to get a hold of Fleetwood and Rev Group. They had me stop into the Rev Group service department there in Decatur. And the great thing about that service department is you actually stay right there in the lot. You pull up and then the service advisor and technicians come out to your unit roughly 6:30 in the morning Eastern time. They bring the unit to the back and resolve your concerns. They typically have your unit back to you about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was impressed. There was a list of probably 15, 16 adjustment items that I'd like them to take care of, and they found actually a couple of other ones. But by 2:30 that afternoon, they had nearly every single issue resolved in the same day, which far exceeded my expectations. And I think with any type of service, whether it's retail service or automobile service, to be able to underpromise and overdeliver, to go well above and beyond what a consumer is expecting for service work, I think that was incredible. They were able to do that. It's great to have a wonderful relationship with your RV dealership, but it's also wonderful that they have a relationship with Rev Group as well. They all have a back channel person to communicate with, a warranty supervisor, a parts person, or someone that they can communicate, or a sales rep on the Rev Group side to help you resolve your concern. So it's wonderful that a dealership has a great relationship with the manufacturer as well.
I am curious, before we get to the next question, you said you had some leaks. Do you know what that issue was, where that came from? I just want to know that.
Sure. Yeah. On the 44S, there are potentially 3 awnings. There are the 2 main Girard awnings for the patio as well as the rear patio. And then there's a 3rd awning that goes over the entry door. Where that awning attached to the body of the RV, there was a little bit of sealant missing on those attachment points. So really, really quick fix, not a major issue as far as I was concerned. Put in some sealant, and then Rev was able to go back and do another water test and verify that the unit was sealed up.
Great. So we've met a lot of people that absolutely love their Discovery, and we love
it's
them,
really nice.
So we've talked to people at shows and so many people are happy with it. We want to know, what do you love most about your RV? And if this is like, you want to take a minute and just kind of brag a little bit about
upgrades.
all the stuff that you've done, because I know you're very passionate about that. We could tell from the email. So what do you really love about it?
Sure. I'll tell you what I love about the RV from what's available from the manufacturer. And then later, as we'll probably discuss some dislikes, I'll put those for in 2 categories. Dislikes in terms of things that you really can't do much about, and dislikes that I was able to take and do some upgrades for. So the first thing in the 44S is, because it has 4 slides, there is an incredible amount of living space in it. Remember, I told you on the Class C, we were more concerned about sleeping capacity. In this RV, we're more worried about the functional capacity. How big is the shower? Are there 2 bathrooms? Do you have all the amenities of home? And this particular unit does have a fireplace. It has heated floors. It has the washer and dryer, the dishwasher, the full-size residential fridge at which you can get your water as well as your ice. So those are absolutely incredible things that are on this unit that I absolutely love, that make daily use absolutely incredible. The ride comfort for Fleetwood has on the Discovery models, the Freightliner custom chassis has the V-Ride suspension, the independent front suspension in the front, as well as a comfort. I don't forget the name they use for the suspension in the rear. But the ride and the steering capability is absolutely wonderful, especially when you transition from a Class C to a Class A. And I thought that was absolutely amazing, how quiet it was, how it was able to absorb the different variations in the road, construction zones and things like that. A very, very stress-free. You arrive, you don't feel exhausted when you arrive for having to fight winds or semi-trucks going down the road. I talked about this a little bit earlier. This ceiling height was important to me. Being 6'5", being able to walk through the unit without hitting my head or rubbing my head on the ceiling or whatever else. I thought that was absolutely incredible thing to do. I talk a little bit about the household amenities, being able to go, if you can imagine being able to take your children to the beach, and when you come back from the beach, being able to just go ahead and throw those clothes in the washing machine and dryer. What I've learned about the advantage of that is we don't have to pack as many clothes. You might pack your clothes for 2 or 3 days, or maybe 4 days. Instead of, if you're going to be gone for 2 weeks, there's not really a reason to pack 2 weeks worth of clothes because you have a washer and dryer available to you. So I thought that's been absolutely wonderful.
That's great. So what about a couple of the upgrades you've done? What are you most proud of?
The upgrades are related to dislikes. Typically when these units come with 100 watts or maybe 300 watts of solar, And the challenge with that is that's not really functional. I talked a lot about the functionality of a rig. So 100 watts or 300 watts might top off a battery, but that's not enough to sort of refill the battery for a day's use. So I partnered with Cross Country RV Solar. His name's Derek Green out of Michigan. You can go to him or he can come to you. He does a phenomenal job. He has a YouTube channel. And I put 6,000 watts of solar on top of the RV. And it pretty much covers the entire roof with the exception of the exhaust for the air conditioning units. And so the great thing about putting that much solar on the RV, I don't have to worry about plugging in. And the biggest thing for me was to be able to have that freedom to be able to do that. My son plays tuba in the band. My girls have done cheerleading. We decided we want to do a little bit of tailgating. And so when you go to these different events, you may not be electricity, might not be accessible there. So you want to be able to use a unit how you want to use it. So with adding the solar, I went with Victron equipment with two 5 kVA Victron inverters. So I have up to 10,000 watts of inverting power. For batteries, I went with Vader batteries, 51.2 volts at 100 amp hours each. I have 8 of those. And so for those who are trying to do the math, that equates to about 32 of 12 volt batteries. And so what happens is we're able to use the entire rig, washer, dryer, dishwasher, all 3 air conditioners, 24 hours a day, whether we're plugged in or not. Now, on top of that, we're able to go ahead and do a little bit of lighting upgrades. I went ahead and visited my friends Boogie Lights in Florence, Kentucky. They've done an incredible job. Before my rig, they had the most lights they put on an RV was about 200 feet of LED lights, megawatt. And just so those know, I named my rig Megawatt because it generates a megawatt of electricity every month. But we added the 400 feet of LED lights and 8,000 LEDs. So we're able to light up the night, whether it's underglows, whether it's above the awnings, whether it's the roof, and then also tied some amber lights into the turn signals for that safety perspective going down the road. The other dislike, I wasn't particularly thrilled about having the single stage water filtration. That's pretty much industry standard. Some of those come with a 5 or maybe a 10 micron filter for a single stage filtration in your RV unit. What I've learned is over time that a 5 or a 10 micron single stage filter is great for a sediment filtration, but it's not great for trying to get down to the microscopic level to make sure you and your family are protected. So got the Blue Technology 3-stage filter as well as their water softener, plumbed it into the bay. So if we are using it in wintertime, I don't have to worry about, so those bays are heated, so I don't have to worry about anything freezing. It goes through the single stage sediment filter that's already standard on the unit. Then it goes down to 0.2 microns on the 3 stages that are through the Blue Technology filters, and then goes into a water softener. The benefit of the water softener that I really appreciate is being able to protect those appliances. So protecting the washing machine, protecting the filter, the refrigerator, as well as protecting the dishwasher from any type of sediment or calcium or magnesium buildup in those lines or sprayers that are in those units.
That's quite the setup. Do you have a 50 amp output so you can power your house during the power outages?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I noticed you guys have a Tesla. So I did add a 50 amp output, and the primary function of it is to be able to charge my Model Y. Funny story about that is I was visiting a state park, and the camp ranger came by and said, "Hey, you can't plug in your EVs here." And I was able to respond with letting them know that, well, great thing that I'm not. My unit wasn't plugging anything, and the Tesla was plugged into my RV. So he was like, "Well, have a nice day."
That's great. That's great. Awesome. I know some of the Super Cs like Show Hall or some other ones, they'll have their 50 amp output like the Buddy, but you're running off the generator. But you brought up some good points, especially with the filters. I would love to see more manufacturers putting useful filters, UV filters, triple filtration, because you go to some of these campgrounds and the potable water doesn't smell very good.
Questionable, yeah.
It doesn't smell very good. You probably shouldn't be drinking it. It should be running through your system. Not super expensive when you're talking about $500,000 units.
Right.
What's a couple $100, $1,000 to put that in. So our final question, unless you have something else to add, would you buy another Fleetwood? Would you buy the same unit? Or for your next unit, are you going to look at something different?
Like a Class B.
Yeah, good Class B.
I don't know that I would go to a different class. I think once you dive into that Class A realm and you've made that type of investment, typically it's done for a reason. And so just be prepared for what that looks like. I think, if I were to give an advice to anybody, just making sure that you are well educated and well versed on the type of maintenance that's required. Izzy, I know that you've talked a lot on your channel about the maintenance and being very, very on top of your battery maintenance and your filtration maintenance, as well as following up on servicing your filters or batteries or the seals around your slides, and I appreciate things like that. So I think on Class A RVs, it's important that the consumer is well prepared for that. So I think once you go into that Class A realm, it's probably not likely that you would go away from that Class A realm. If I were to think about additional purchases in the future, I would probably consider still staying with Fleetwood, but perhaps consider their new Palisade. I've seen all the reviews on the new Palisade in terms of the side radiator. They've done a better job with the wet bay and how they handle the batteries, as well as some upgrade to the axles and weight and cargo carrying capacity. So in the future, if I would stay with the Rev Group and stay with the Fleetwood brand, but consider stepping up a notch to the Palisade.
We did test drive a Palisade at the NRVC show. It was nice.
Very nice looking inside.
But then you get almost to the point of going to American Coach. It's like you're right there. So it's like, that's sort of American Coach. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, they're really nice. It fits. What we were told is it's above the LXC, but just below the American Coach. It's like right in the middle.
Yeah,
so
yep.
I guess it really depends. Is there anything else you want to add, James, before we end this video?
Yeah, I just would like to say that one of the reasons why I follow your channel and religiously watch your videos is I appreciate what you guys cover. A lot of times on YouTube, in terms for Class A owners, there may not necessarily be as much information available out there for Class A owners. I see a lot of travel trailers, a lot of fifth wheel trailers. A lot of RVs that maybe you can tell by the videos are just sitting in someone's driveway, but you two are actively out there reviewing campgrounds, reviewing information, talking to dealers, talking to manufacturers, talking to different individuals about the industry and following up on industry trends, sales, and how it's impacting consumers as well as impacting business. So I appreciate what you guys do. In terms of me, I would love for your group to consider visiting megawattrv.com or look for us on YouTube at Megawatt RV. Upcoming soon on the channel, I'm going to take Megawatt out, power a couple food trucks, power a couple different businesses, and see just what the system's capable of out there and have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And when we get our next motorhome, I'm going to have to call you and say, like, what kind of setup should we do here? And then we'll reach out to some vendors to make that happen. But I appreciate you reaching out. I appreciate you, watching our videos. And you made a good point about Class A's and knowing what to get into. And it's really important because when you get into a Class A, there's money involved. Like, it's not just a purchase. It's very expensive. It's expensive to maintain. It's expensive to go down the road. Every year we go up to the body shop. We have a body shop that we love. And we get, Nellie, she gets her cosmetic surgery, right? Little chips here. We get it touched up to make it look nice. This year's been pretty good. We've really had no maintenance issues. But 2 years ago, it was $16,000 a year just in maintenance and repairs. It was at that 5-year mark. Yeah. Things started wearing down. We had to change tires. Awning motors went out. Levelers went out. A couple things, it just got crazy.
And we have a gasser. I mean, diesels are even.
And we had extended warranty, thankfully.
Yeah.
It can get very expensive. Like when you're ready to change those tires, it's going to be a bill. So I'm glad that you pointed that out, because I think part of the frustration with people, they save their money, they buy their Class A, and then they realize, like, wow, I just spent $500 to fill this thing up. And wow, I just went to the dealership to change the oil, and oh my God, this is really expensive. Like every time we go to a repair center, it's $1,000 entry fee. So
adds up
just getting there, the amount of fuel used just getting there, it could be $100 just fuel, depending on how far the place is. So it's very important that you brought that up.
It's exactly why I say the relationship with your service department and the manufacturer is important, because there's lots to keep track of. And a lot of things may not necessarily be all in the same place. You may service your generator with Cummins. It may service your engine with Cummins. You may have an issue with airbags and whatever else that you need to go to a truck shop, a Freightliner custom chassis truck shop. Then other issues that may happen within the unit may need to be resolved at your dealership or with Rev Group or Freightliner or whomever else that you may be doing business with. It's important to educate yourself and making sure you are prepared for all the other pieces that come along with it. That's probably the scary part. But the fun part is you have an opportunity, and I believe that Fleetwood gives an opportunity to have a platform that you can make absolutely yours, whether it's adding solar, whether it's adding lighting, whether it's even myself, even I think that it drives absolutely wonderful. I've done some suspension upgrades I think have made it even better. Painting the lipper entry steps to match the body paint. There's all kind of things in terms that you can do to upgrade your unit. Even the stereo, and that's one thing I didn't talk about earlier. That's probably my biggest dislike is the stereo. I think the speakers can sometimes sound like the elevator intercom speakers. It's a bit of a challenge. So we're able to visit a local audio shop to have a lot of upgrades done to the stereo system, and it's absolutely amazing. But every one of those upgrades, every one of those things you do different to your rig, you have to have a platform that allows you to be able to do that without having to dig out a bunch of panels and a bunch of different wires and whatever else. But every one of those is an opportunity to make your unit uniquely yours and enhance your experience.
Well, we want to thank you so much for sharing your experience. It's really good to hear that you've had such a wonderful experience so far. So in the comments, guys, ask your questions. I'm sure James will be in the comment section ready to answer any questions you have about his setup or his, service or sales experience or anything. So put those down below. And we want to thank James so much for joining us.
Thank you, James. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
We're also going to link to the left of us our other videos with people like James that came on our channel to talk about their positive experience. We'll put those right over here. And we hope to continue doing videos like this. We'll put another post out. We've had quite a few people reach out to us, but I think we have to keep it positive. So thank you, everybody, guys, and we'll see you on the road.